I got to tell you right off the top, I really feel gypped. I really feel sold out. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the Daily Coppock. I was dying to see Blago testify in court. It would have been Seinfeld against the Honeymooners. It would have been Vince McMahon against the roller derby. But acting upon the advice of his legal team, Father Adams and Son Adams, Blago, of course, will not testify. By the way, ESPN legal analyst Lester Munson told me that is far and away the best thing the Adams family has done for Blago during the course of the events going on downtown in the Blago trial. Now, just a thought on my part. Could it be that the Adams team doesn't want Blagojevich to testify right now because they're thinking ahead toward an appeal, and they would rather not have any testimony in court where Blago, of course, being the loudmouth that he is, could blow up and leave himself completely in a bind. All right, that's point number one as we rock and roll here on the Daily Coppock. My gosh, is that really Joe Willie Namath? Is that really the charismatic figure who convinced me to drink Red Label Scotch back in 1968? It is. You know, hey, back in the 1960s, there were really two charismatic athletes, Broadway Joe Namath and Muhammad Ali. I'll give you a third, right here in Chicago, Robert Marvin Bobby Hull. You know what? The Dallas Cowboys do this. Now the New York Jets are going to do it. In my opinion, every National Football League team should have a Ring of Honor. The Jets, moving into a brand new ballpark, are going to have a Ring of Honor with 6 inductees. The main eventer, of course, this man, Joe Namath. Think about Super Bowl III back on January 12th, 1969, when Joe Namath predicted outright, we will beat Don Shula and the Baltimore Colts. Who cares if the Colts were 17, 18, 19-point favorites? Joe Namath in one given day made good on the prediction. Gosh only knows how much money he's made over the years with that one prediction. By the way, I do have a small bit of history with Joe Namath. The last game he ever played was in Chicago in 1977 as a member of the Los Angeles Rams. The last pass he threw was picked off by Gary Fensick. I was the public address announcer at that ballgame. Reggie Bush, you got brand new troubles. The Heisman Trophy Trust is taking a long look at your reception of the Heisman Trophy Award back in 2005. Hey, right now, USC football is stuck in a quagmire along with USC basketball. Now, the Heisman Trophy Trust does things very slowly and very deliberately, but here is my gut feeling. They will either give the trophy to the backup recipient who trailed Reggie Bush in votes that given year, or they will declare the 2005 Heisman Trophy absolutely vacant. All right, hey, you know what? It's time we talked about the commissioner. You know, I know Bud Selig has made some mistakes over the years. I know media guys stand in line to take pot shots at Bud Selig. I also know this. Revenues under the direction of Bud Selig have grown in leaps and bounds over the years. Major League Baseball did roughly $7 billion in revenue this past year. Hey, I know in 1994 and 1995, baseball had the prolonged labor stoppage, basically under the direction of Bud Selig. I also know that in 2002, Major League Baseball had the tie in the All-Star game under the direction of Bud Selig. But what about adding the extra round in the playoffs? What about the wild card? What about all the positive things Bud Selig has done? What about franchise growth? What about brand new stadiums? You know what? It's time for Major League Baseball to waive all rules and install Alan Bud Selig, the greatest automobile dealer in Wisconsin history, into baseball's Hall of Fame. No runs, no hits, absolutely no dice on this guy. The way I see it right now, Tracy McGrady is going to get a workout with the Chicago Bulls because his agent, Arm Tellem, is a friend of Bulls owner Jerry Reinsdorf. Hey, McGrady is yesterday's news. His knees are like jello. He saw limited time last year with the New York Knicks. You bring McGrady to Chicago, make him part of the party at the United Center, he's not going to play any more than 29 or 30 games. Bulls, for your own sake, don't even waste your time. Don't bother with a tryout. Head to the next place. All right. We don't exactly have to have a pity party right now for Eldrick Tiger Woods, but I do find this kind of interesting. Tiger Woods' endorsement money is down roughly $22 million from where it was a year ago. Gee, I wonder why. What could possibly have precipitated that? Elon, are you out there? Do you feel personally responsible, for heaven's sakes? Did you have to hit the guy with a golf club? Anyway, Tiger is still far and away the #1 off the court or off the golf course wage earner in professional sports. He'll still do about 85 or 90 million bucks this year. And I kind of wonder, while Tiger thinks about little Tiger and his past associations with female company, how much would Tiger's ancillary income ability rebound if he won the last major left on the card, that being the PGA? Hey, we're a very forgiving nation. In my opinion, the bulk of the country has already forgiven Tiger Woods. Here is a message to Ron Gardenhire, the sterling silver manager of the Minnesota Twins. Hey, tell your guys you have got to deal before the July 31 trading deadline. The Twins, by the way, have a situation right now they have not enjoyed in years. With the move to Target Stadium, they actually have revenues to spend. Sellouts are a way of life at Target. They're averaging better than 39,000 fans a game. They have got to shore up their rotation. Hey, they wanted the kid from Seattle. They wanted Cliff Lee in the worst way. That was no go. Lee wound up with the Texas Rangers. The Twins have got to fortify their rotation if they're going to make a run against Ozzie Guillen and the Chicago White Sox and perhaps even the somnambulant Detroit Tigers. All right, let's go to Fat Guys Shouldn't Be Dancing at Halftime, my best-selling book. Just look right at it. Fat Guys Shouldn't Be Dancing at Halftime, available at Barnes & Noble, Borders, maybe even a couple of truck stops. Channel 12, or make that Chapter 12. The Danimal, the NFL at its best or the NFL at its worst. I want to quote directly from former Chicago Bear Dan Hampton, a guy who has undergone 14 knee surgeries over the years. I always figured you played until you couldn't walk, and then you just kept on playing anyway. I was willing to sell out, give everything up. In fact, I recall a time during Hampton's playing career when he was supposed to get knee surgery. The Bears wanted it done by a specific surgeon out of state. He was unavailable. So what did Hampton do? Show up for the ball game on Sunday in street clothes? No, he came out and played, and he played the following week. He wound up in a situation where he had to have both knees worked on. Dan Hampton, inch for inch, pound for pound, brilliant football player, Hall of Famer. I have never seen an athlete with a greater pain tolerance than Dan Hampton. You gotta love it. Rock and roll at its best, just a good old-fashioned jam session. As we close out today's edition of the Daily Coppock, Neil Young, the guitar virtuoso with the pride and joy of Seattle, Washington. Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam. Keep on rocking in the free world. Hey, keep on rocking with the Daily Coppock. Let us know what's going on. We want your comments on Facebook, the whole 9 yards. We'll catch you tomorrow. Until then, peace, love, and rock and roll. So long, everybody.